Hey Capricorn, happy February. I'm Chris. Welcome to your February reading. I don't know why, I just got real hyped getting ready to talk to you guys. Ten of Swords. Maybe I shouldn't be, huh? Just kidding. February. We just came out of your season where there was a lot of planetary energy in your sign. And now you can kind of, take a little break, right? Now you can kind of relax a little bit more. Now you can sort of pull back and start to take stock of things. Capricorn, I feel like, isn't satisfied. Particularly with work, right? But it can be like love, it could be relationships, right? We have Venus going into Pisces at the end of the month. Love and money in the sign of like good feelings, right? And we have an eclipse in Aquarius in the middle of the month. So this eclipse is going to be a big, for everybody, for all the signs, a big energy for like looking at what fits and what doesn't. Possibly restructuring your life. Restructuring ideas about what you want and where you are and like if that's really good enough for you. If you're satisfied, right? If like you're making the progress that you want to be making. So all at once, I'm going to say that Ten of Swords is one, like sort of a sigh of relief, but also like not really being where you want to be. And that's easy to say for anybody, right? Anybody at any given time could like be okay with like the idea of doing bigger and better. But Capricorn is the sign of upward mobility. I feel like you guys get like I don't know what happened there, but I don't know which ones they were. I'll take these two, right? You guys get mad restless when you aren't growing, when things aren't progressing. Like even if your job is going well, Two of Wands. So we have the Nine of Wands, the Hermit, and the Two of Wands. When you're not progressing, when you're not growing, when you're not like making more money or moving up the ladder or like hitting new milestones in your life, right? Like Capricorn is like that sign that's like, okay, I got a job, now I need a relationship. Okay, I got a relationship, now we're moving in together. Now we're moving in together, when are we getting married? When are we getting married? When are we gonna have kids? The star. My Capricorn cousin, I swear to God, she has her life planned. I have to have this by this time because I want to have a child by this time, so I have to get pregnant at this time, and then we're going to move into our house, and by that time we'll have this amount of money saved up, and like I can't I can't personally, like I'm a Gemini with Cancer rising, like I just fucking go with the flow. All that planning and organization, like I've been scared of Saturn and Capricorn for a while because like I was like, ooh, how's that gonna feel? Is that gonna fuck me up? The King of Wands on the bottom of the deck so far. Let's get into the cards, right? So starting off with the Ten of Swords. I'm just gonna keep gesticulating. Um, that sense, like I was saying before, of dissatisfaction. That sense of like, this is a card of defeat. I don't think you're defeated. I think that you are tired of the way things have been. You're tired of the struggle. You're tired of, putting your effort into things that aren't quite paying off. Saturn and Capricorn is about reaping what you sow. And it's going to make very clear where you are putting too much effort and not getting enough out of it, and where you're putting in too much. Where you're not putting in enough, right? So we have the 9 of Wands, so we have 2 9s here, right? Coming after the 10. So this to me is sort of like, again, reiterating that sense of relief, right? To go from this place to sort of a lower feeling, like you guys, that's why I said you're not defeated. It's just sort of like maybe a step back, right? To reflect, to really get clear on what you want, to really get a firm understanding of like, why are you feeling this way? What is going on? Why are you feeling like you're spinning your wheels and not getting anywhere? Why do you feel like you're working hard and like not moving up as much as you should? Why do you feel like you're saving your money but like you still can't afford that house? The Hermit is about like getting right with yourself right now. The Hermit is about going within, right? When I talked about the eclipse in Aquarius, it's really about shedding things. Capricorn maybe has their guard up right now. Capricorn is maybe feeling a little defensive. Also, though, what I'm seeing when I look at this card right now is a feeling of having a lot to offer. Right? That's not like, I interpret the cards every time differently, and that's not a traditional interpretation of this card. Right? In the last reading I did for Taurus, it was about them, like this card came up for them, and it was about like picking the things that were right for them. For you guys, I feel like the same thing, but with them it was about people. With that, for you, this is like all of your resources, all of your wisdom, all of your knowledge at your hands, right? And you're not picking like I was saying before for them. You're like accumulating. Maybe this is like accumulating reasons why you should like be leaving your job, or why you should be leaving your relationship, or why you should make that move to a new city. That's what I feel like a little bit here is like collecting reasons, like the willpower in the wands, right? Getting motivated to make the big changes, right? And then you venture out into the world and make them happen. Whether this is like with the relationship, like being single, or whether this is just exploring your career options, right? The Hermit is like so often we get caught up in the idea of the Hermit as just like a solitary, lonely figure, but he's a wanderer. He's a seeker. He's an explorer, right? A little differently than the Fool, right? Because this is a little more somber, a little more serious, which kind of like matches your guys' energy, right? Again, now that you're fun, you guys are fun, you laugh a lot, you're good humored, but you're also very serious. You take yourself seriously, like in the right way, in a good way. I also feel like there's a sense of spiritual understanding or seeking, right? Maybe this month finds you interested in different religions or different spiritualities, or like just philosophies that help guide you. Then we have the 2 of Wands, like making your decision, right? After you come out of this place of reflection and contemplation and like gauging your resources and measuring out what you have and what you don't, right? It's time to make the choice. It's the time to choose your greatest happiness. It's the time to choose your passion, right? That's what a big theme of this month is also with all this Pisces energy, is getting into your passions. Getting into the things that make you feel romantic, that make you feel excited, that make you feel like dreamy and hopeful and optimistic. Choosing you, right? And I don't think Capricorn has a problem with putting themselves first, but I think sometimes where you do have a problem is putting yourself before your responsibilities, right? So to use an example of a job, right? This is like putting your responsibilities on the job, the fact that people rely on you, the fact that like you've been trained and like you maybe are even in a leadership position, putting all that stuff before like what is it that makes me happy? What is it that makes me feel good? Right? And I don't think it has to be like pie in the sky dreams for you. I think it just has to be something that makes you feel like there's motion, right? The goat wants to climb the mountain. The goat doesn't want to sit there and get like fat and lazy. That like doesn't work. Doesn't want to get stagnant, right? Because also like traditionally your symbol is the sea goat, right? The top half is the goat, the back half is like a fishtail. Very movement oriented. Very like, even though you have this like earthy uh, part of you, like the front part of you, still really guided by emotions and guided by good feelings. And like with the star, you have those feelings like expanding onto the people around you. That's why you have to make sure that you're giving your energy to the right people, to the right places, right? I think what motivates Capricorn a lot is being a provider, taking care of the people you love, right? My Mars is in Capricorn, and this makes sense for me because, like, part of the reason that's always in the back of my mind when it comes to being successful is how I can use that success to take care of the people I love, how I want to treat people to things who deserve it. I want to fly people out to LA and just like lavish them and things, you know? Capricorn loves to love and is fueled by that love, right? You have this reputation of being cold, but sometimes you can be like a little serious and detached. But ultimately, you're still human and you want to feel this good. You want to wake up in the morning like that, feeling like your life is on track. Like things are working out the way you wanted them to. What's worse for a Capricorn than like their plans not working out? So I just said this to Taurus and I'm going to say it to you guys, right? Reassess your plans. Maybe what you wanted 6 months ago is not what you want now. The same way with relationships, right? The shitty thing about relationships is that sometimes like they don't evolve and grow. So the person you were 2 years ago who was in love with this person and wanted them to be your partner, maybe now like they just aren't right for where you're at right now. They're not changing, they're not evolving to meet you where you are. And that's heartbreaking sometimes, right? But again, Capricorn, we're talking about putting you first. Putting your needs first. I feel like you guys are the quintessential example of the whole like putting on your mask before you help the person next to you, like on the airplane, right? You understand that you need to be powerful. You understand that you need to be strong, Queen of Wands, because you have responsibilities, right? The Queen of Swords, she's like one of the more active queens to me. She's willing to do what she has to for her people. She is the kind of queen who is not afraid of getting her hands dirty, who is not afraid of leading by example. Of showing people the way because of her own empowerment. So, Capricorn, like, this month might be asking you to cut things away, right? We have Mercury in the first half of the month in Aquarius, and then it moves into Pisces. So going from our thoughts and communication being very logical to being able to languish in pleasure and romantic ideas and sensuality with Pisces, right? So my point is that right now our minds are primed to cut away the fat, to get rid of the things that like just aren't working anymore. Okay. These popped out together. Not quite a path card, but let's look at them together, right? Talk about like new ideas of power. Talk about breaking free to be like your best self. Like I think the Emperor came up for you guys in last month's reading, because I remember comparing like you guys to Aries. This is also considered an Aries card sometimes. The Fool. Cutting free, breaking loose, having like this guiding light to like your new status, right? So this is very different from what I was talking about in the beginning, where Capricorn maybe isn't feeling like they're making movement. Like the Emperor is at the top of his game. The Emperor is at the top of the social ladder. In human society, you can't get any higher than this. So, Capricorn, find the invigoration, find the passion to move yourself forward. And I think a lot of the way you do that is making cuts. Right? Make a cut this month. Whether it's like cutting out diet, like junk food or alcohol or something like that, or something more drastic like your job or a relationship or like where you live, your connections to people. Right? No matter what it is, the Queen of Swords is severing connections that are holding you back. I almost feel like I just got this image in my head of like someone who's like trying to move forward but has this thing, like I think like football players do it, where like they have these like straps attached to them and then there's this like heavy thing behind them and they have to like move forward, right? That's what Capricorn, right? When you cut that off, they cut that weight off, you can move more freely, right? Imagine that guy running and pulling and then all of a sudden you cut the cord and now he's flying forward. Kind of a funny image, right? If he falls flat on his face, but that's what this lightheartedness comes in, where this ease of movement through the world, ease of movement towards like your goals and your status and your power. Cut it, Capricorn. Cut it. Your price is way too high. You gotta cut it. Cut it. Cut it. Cut it. Right? And that makes sense too with the Hermit here, right? Separating yourself. The Hermit like understands the value of alone time for the sake of clarity. Queen of Swords has a lot of clarity. To make this choice, you need a lot of clarity. To get here, you need to firmly understand who you are and what you're doing and where you're going. All right, so far so good. Right? I'll take those two as like the pathway card on that side. And these cards just jumped out, so let's look at them for your outcome. Hey, Ace of Pentacles. 9 of Pentacles. 7 of Pentacles. Princess of Swords. So, Capricorn, I mean, I just got chills. Capricorn's about their money. Just thinking about Capricorn being about their money just gave me chills. Right? Look at the promise here. Let's put this in like an order as a story. Right? Because I see a story here. The planting of the seed, the waiting for it to grow, and then the blooming. Or we could also look at it this way, right? Waiting for something better, this dissatisfaction. And then here comes new opportunity. And now their Capricorn has their spirit back. Capricorn feels like on solid ground. I know this is a Venus and Virgo represented in this card, but to me it feels like Capricorn, like I'm feeling or seeing like hooves like firmly planted on the ground with this card. So look for new opportunities, right? If your job is dissatisfying, Capricorn, like it's time to look for a new one. If just like you like the job but the position is whack, like now it's time to start looking at ways to expand your responsibilities. Maybe changing a position within your job, right? Maybe this is also just something simpler like savings or new investments, right? Maybe this is like a purchase, like I said before, about a house, putting a down payment on a house, putting down a security deposit on a new apartment, right? Because then we have the last card is the outcome. We have the Princess of Swords. Bottom of the deck, look, all pentacles, yo. Earthy as fuck. Underneath it all, guys, is your desire to enjoy what you do. And I don't think you guys, I don't think it's bratty, but some people do. You don't have that bratty attitude of like, I need to do what I love, right? I totally believe in people doing that, but I understand how some people perceive that as bratty. I don't, because that's what I'm all about. But to you guys, that's a different thing, right? It's not about like having your dream job necessarily. It's not about the fantasy is what I want to say. It's about getting pleasure from what you do on a day-to-day basis. Feeling like there's upward mobility. Right? Having a sense of growth. That your money and the work you're doing is paying off. So, it's like Princess of Swords, what did I say about cutting it? You have this way, right? This path that can take you to being her, where you just do what you got to do in your best interest, right? What's the first step? What was I saying before? This month, cut one thing, right? Princess of Swords is still learning how to wield that sword. So, right? Princess of Swords is still learning how to wield that sword. So practice with it, Capricorn. Cut that one thing. Cut that one thing that's particularly standing in the way of this feeling. That is standing in the way of your opportunities and your happiness. The Ace of Pentacles right now seems to me like happiness. And what I said about like pruning, right? These two cards together, it's almost like she's pruning off the rotten fruit, right? When you cut a tree back, right? When you cut off like the rotten limbs or whatever, the energy, the nutrients go to other parts of it. The parts that are strong and healthy and are gonna, like if you ever grew a fruit tree, they say to like, in the earlier stages, like pluck off some of the buds. Because if you have 100% of energy going into 10 things, right? each of those 10 things gets 10. If you have 100% of energy going to 5 things, those things get 20, right? So those fruit grow bigger. By pruning back, the energy that you have available to you goes into the places where it's most valuable and will have the most payoff. And you won't end up with 10 fruit that are smaller, or like some that die on the vine. Better to cut that shit off now, so that what's really going to pay off is going to grow and bring abundance your way, and bring like happiness and pleasure and satisfaction and stability and independence. Like, this is you breaking free from these like situations that are like putting you here, right? Making the choice to feel this good. So I'll show you the cards real quick, and then we'll go into the oracle cards. So it got kind of messy because a lot of cards just kind of jumped out here. But do you see this emphasis here on this earthy energy? Earth, 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 earth. It's about your health, but also your money, your business, your career. And look at this power that's available to you when you break yourself free. When you cut the toxic cords of attachment. When you use your resources wisely. You kind of accept that things aren't working. That's the element of defeat that I was talking about earlier, but I didn't want to use the word defeat. This card sometimes is like calling it quits at the right time. Very similar to this, like the whole pruning of what's like working and what's not. And when something's not working, do you stand here like this dude and like look mopey and wait for it to come to fruition? Or do you just say, fuck this, it's not working anymore. I'm out. Peace. Deuces. Nah, I mean? You know what I mean? I gotta get a better tripod because holding that shit up and then having to adjust it every time is annoying. Alright, so let's pull from the Nature Nurture Oracle for a little more clarification. I do have personal readings still on sale this month. They're a little less of a discount. They're 30% off this month. Just because there was such a big demand last month that I kind of had to... Time is becoming valuable, like we were talking about, right? So check that out in the comments, in the description. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And these popped out of us, so let's take them. Leadership. Good fortune. Shape-shifting. Okay, so let's look at this first. That looked kind of funny, like, Lion. Rawr. Capricorn. This is to me like a ferocity to your being. This is to me a little akin to the Queen of Swords energy. Of like, I'm gonna do and get what's mine just because it's mine. Just because it's what I want. You know, I did this meditation recently where you get into the animal instincts, right? And you get into an animal, and for me it was a lion, and you just like hunt down what you want and you claim it. And I remember so strongly that feeling, because I'm a kind of like don't want to step on toes with people, like want to share everything. I remember how powerful it was to catch the thing that I wanted and stand on it and consume it like it was mine, right? Like with the lion, it's like no shame No second thought to claiming what's yours, to claiming your power, to claiming your desires. Nothing wrong with that. So get into this headspace where what you want is yours for the taking. You don't need to be in this complacency. You don't need to just do something to get through the motions. You can have whatever you want because you want it and because you can. That's dope. I feel like Capricorn gets this energy already, right? But this month is to embody that. You know, we just had the eclipse in Leo. That, like, I deserve it just because kind of Leo energy. Because I'm so fab. Owning your prosperity, like look at this fell on top of the Ace of Pentacles, like prosperity, things paying off, right? Talk about good luck, right? With the star, right? This is like, you are fucking blessed, Capricorn. I'm way up, I feel blessed. Right? That's y'all this month. You just have to align yourself with it. You have to take on a new identity. You have to let go of the old stories about what your life is supposed to be. Let go of obligations, right? There's no shame in quitting if it's just not working. Like, how stupid would you look holding on to something because you're like too prideful to quit or let it go, and then like you're miserable and it's not paying off, right? Again, like this sense of like knowing when to quit, knowing when the payoff is going to come and when it's not. There's nothing wrong with recognizing that it's not paying off and being out of there. Outie, I'm done. I'm through. I had it officially. You guys watch? No, that's a quote from Drag Race. I've had it officially. Anyway, but you know what I mean? Like transforming into like something better. It's very similar to what I was saying here with like the Fool, right? Going to the Emperor. It's like taking on a new way of being. Starting fresh and becoming something even better than you thought was possible. Something that fits you so much more than you even thought. So Capricorn, good reading, right? It's about getting right with yourself, and it's about letting go of the things that are not working. That's for everybody with this eclipse, but especially with you guys. Like, we're all about your money. We're all about like your material well-being. And I think that's gonna put a fucking boot up your ass to like make the changes you need to make. Right? So again, Instagram in the description. Private readings are available. 30% off through February. You can book one in the description through my Etsy page. What else? I think that's it. I think you guys are off to a great month. I think that like there is a sense of relief after all that planetary energy. It's like you have these burdens. Like this energy you have to carry. Like that to me is like this responsibility that we've been talking about, your obligations. Now you can let it go. And be like fresh. And like really pursue the things that are exciting. Right? Alright, Capricorn. You're going to kill it, like always. I love y'all, and I will see you in March. Have a good one. Adios. Bye-bye.